Okay, here's our final review for consumer math. The first thing has to do with automobiles, and then the next thing we're going to be talking about has to discuss with housing, and then you got some investment and then some probability. Okay, so first problem, John negotiates a new price of $22,000. He trades in his old car for $8,000. There's a 6% sales tax and a 40% fee for title and registration. How much does Bob owe the dealer? Okay, so his car price is $22,000, but if he does a trade-in, we can minus, and we're going to minus $8,000 from there. Okay, so $22,000 minus $8,000 is $14,000. Now, that's not the answer because we have to add our tax and our fee for the title and registration. Now, the tax is expressed as a percentage, 6%. So I'm going to have to find 6% of $14,000. So I'm going to times that by 0.06. So 14,000 times 0.06 is 840. So it's an $840 tax, and then the title and registration is $40. So I can just add 40. Okay, and that's going to be my answer. So I have to pay $14,000 for the car plus $840 for tax plus $40. That's $14,880. Okay, number two. A person negotiates a car price of $20,000. They make a $5,000 down payment. She's going to finance the rest using an APR plan of 10.5% over 3 years. Use your APR table to figure the monthly payment. So I know that APR is proportional, so ratios will work. Now I need to find the automobile, okay, page, and that's going to be right here. I see there's an APR here, and there's a bunch of cars here, so that sounds good. So it's 10.5% over 3 years, so that's a $3.25, okay? So $3.25. Now, that's proportional because it says a monthly payment per 100, okay? So per $100. Okay, now, how much did I borrow? I didn't borrow all $20,000, okay? I made a $5,000 down payment, so I need to take the $20,000 and minus the $5,000. That's $15,000. So I'm going to borrow $15,000. Okay, and then I cross multiply and divide. I multiply 3.25 by 15,000 and then divide by 100. Okay, I got 487.5. I'm going to round that up to 488. If you write 487.50, that's fine too. So I'll be paying that back every month. Okay, number three, when a new car was purchased, it was worth $15,000. The car depreciates or loses value at a rate of 12% each year. Find the car's value after 6 years. Okay, so I have my $15,000, and then I will want to multiply because it's by a percentage, but not 0.12. You need to say, okay, it has 100% because it's a 12% decrease. So I need to minus 12% to find out what I'm going to want to use as a factor here. So that's 88%. Remember, increase, decrease in percent. We don't want to use just a percent. We want to add or subtract it. So that's 0.88. And then this goes on every year for 6 years. So a repeated multiplication, I use an exponent of 6. Okay, so 15,000 times 0.88 to the 6th power, and that's going to be $6,966. Okay, now number 4 is kind of hard. I might actually on the final write some hints on it, but for now let's just go for this. A car drives 600 miles on 20 gallons of gas. If gas costs $2.23 per gallon, how much will a 500-mile trip cost for the gas? So the cost is 2.23, but it's per gallon, so I would have to know how many gallons we're going to use on my trip. Well, they talk about a past trip. A trip I took in the past, 600 miles, took 20 gallons. Okay, so I can just represent that with a proportion. So if 600 miles takes 20 gallons, how much will 500 miles take? So 500 miles, that'll tell me how many gallons. So I cross multiply and divide. I take 20 times 500 divided by 600. 16.6. I'm going to round that up to 17 whole gallons. After all, it's better to overestimate than underestimate. So I know I'm going to be, this trip for 500 miles will take 17 gallons. So I take 2.23 times 17, and I get $37.91. Okay, number 6. Car insurance. You hit an $18,000 vehicle and you total it, meaning that you got to replace $18,000. The other person's medical bills were $9,500. You have to take care of that too because it was your fault. What would your out-of-pocket cost be in the following situations? So, in each one of these scenarios, I write the other person's medical bills first, and then the property damage. And then the same thing right here. Now, my insurance, the 9 means my insurance will cover $9,000 of this. But that's not going to be enough because there's still going to be some left over when I subtract. There's a $500 left over. They're going to cover up to $12,000, but that won't be enough on that either because $18,000 minus $12,000, there'd still be $6,000 remaining. So I have to pay this and this. So I plus those together, and that's $6,500. Okay, now full coverage is down here. They'll pay up to $150,000 of medical, and they'll pay up to $100,000 of property. Well, that easily covers that because if I subtract that, that's negative. Okay, so that's covered and that's covered. But all I have to worry about is the deductible. And I did not give you an amount for that. I'm going to say we'll say this today, it's $300. So as deductible, you'd have to pay $300, and then they will cover everything for me. Now on this, I would pay no deductible, but I have to pay these two things because the amount covered was not enough. Okay, number 7. Word bank, deductible, policy, claim, premium, coverage, liability, comp, and collision. When you ask your insurance company for payment in case of trouble, you're making a claim. Okay. If you screw up, you call your insurance to help you out, claim. Your contract you sign with your insurance agent, that is called your policy. Okay. If you violate a contract, you're violating a policy. Okay. That's how to think of that. The amount of money you must pay in case of trouble before your insurance company will pay the rest is called a... Now, that's what happened here, okay? Full coverage, my insurance covered it, but I had to pay $300. Well, that's your deductible. Okay, insurance that pays for damage to your own car. My own car is the comp and collision. That's one answer. So that's called your comp and collision. Now you can have that. You don't have to carry it by law, but if you are in an accident that it's your fault, you're going to be SOL on your own car if you don't have it. Your premiums will be cheaper, but if something bad happens. Any fault you have in someone else being injured is liability. Okay, amount of money you pay each year for car insurance, that's known as your, and I cross out deductible too, premium. Okay, and then benefits provided to you by your insurance company in case of disaster, that's called your coverage, Okay. What a person pays for housing should not be over 20% of their paycheck. Remember that fact. If Rufus's monthly pay is $2,000, what is the most he should be willing to spend each month on housing payments? So 20% is kind of the magic, and that should be 20% of your paycheck. Okay. So I know my monthly pay is $2,000, so I just times that by 0.20. I'm finding 20% of $2,000, $400. So he should be willing to pay. That's the most he should be willing to pay on his rent or his housing or whatever. Okay, a house had a value of $80,000. The home is increasing in value by 2% each year. Find the home's value after 15 years. So I have my beginning cost. Then I will times, but again, it's not just 2%, it's increasing by 2%. So we have to take 100% and add 2 onto it. So it's 102%. So that'd be 1.02. And whenever I repeat that multiplication, I use a power because it happens every year for the next 15 years. Okay, so 80,000. Just doing it once would be after 1 year. Okay, if I take it to a power of 15, that's going to get me the next 15 years. So that's $107,669. Okay, number 10. A home is purchased for $85,000. The buyer made a 15% down payment on the house and finances the rest on an APR of 13% over 20 years. There's that word, APR. Find the monthly payment using the APR table for home buying. So again, APR is proportional. Okay, but I'm not buying cars, so I need to find the home, and that's on the next page. Okay. Getting a mortgage. Okay, and there's different amounts. So I was at 13% over 20 years. So 13 and 20, $11.72. But this time, if you look above the table, it's mortgage payments per 1,000. So it's 1,000 in your denominator. Now this is the actual amount over here. Okay, I'm not borrowing all $85,000. Okay, I'm just borrowing a percentage of this, but it's not 15. 15 is the percentage that you've already paid, so it's like you're taking that off. So I could times that by 0.85, okay? So $85,000 times 0.85 is $72,250, and that's the amount I'm going to be borrowing, okay? Then I can just cross multiply and divide. 11.72 times 72,250 divided by 1,000. 846.77. I'm going to go up and say it's 847. Okay. All right, number 11. A person owns property worth $50,000. The property tax rate is $2.50 per 100. Bam, that's a ratio. So $2.50 per 100. And $50,000 was the actual amount. Okay, so 2.50 times 50,000 divided by 100 is 1,250. Okay, number 12, homeowners insurance. Okay, a house is insured for a replacement value of $100,000. What's the coverage of the garage and other structures? Okay, so I need to turn in my packet to the homeowners insurance right here. This is a pretty easy problem. You want to know, okay, I have to they're going to pay me that to replace my house, and then they're going to pay a percentage for my garage, and the percentage comes off of the home's value. So the garage is 10%, so I want to times that by 0.10. And 100,000 times 0.10 is 10,000. Okay, number 13. A room's floor measures 40 by 45 feet. Its ceiling is 20 feet high. We need to paint the 4 walls in the room. Each gallon of paint covers 400 square feet and costs $15 per gallon. Find the cost of the paint job. So I want to draw these walls so I can visualize what we're painting. And the 20-foot high ceiling on every one of them. And the 40 by 45 means 2 of them have a base of 40 and the other has a base of 45. Okay, now my job is to find the cost, but I really can't find the cost. It's $15, but I need to know the gallons. Okay, so I'm going to have to figure out the gallons, and I don't even know that. Okay, but the only thing I can find, it says 1 gallon covers 400 square feet, so I'm going to have to know the square feet. Okay, so square feet's easy. I know 200 times 400 is 800, and that's 800. 20 times 45 is 900, 900. So now I add those up because that tells me the square feet I have to paint. So 800 plus 800 plus 900 plus 900, or 800 times 2 plus 900 times 2. So I have 30,400 square feet to paint. Now each gallon is going to cover 400. So what I want to find out is how many 400s can I get out of this 3,400? Well, that's just a division concept. $8.5. Well, you can only buy full gallons of paint, okay? So we have to take that 8.5 and round it up to 9. Okay, so 15 times 9 is $135. Okay, number 14, it's a loan, but you're not going to use the APR. Okay, follow the steps to find the monthly payment for the car. Don't use the APR table. So here's the price, I made a down payment, and then here's my loan rate and how long it is for. Subtract to find the amount owed. Well, that's kind of obvious because you made a down payment. You're not going to finance all of it, so $12,500. Take your percent, move the decimal twice to the left. That means just write it as 0.04, and then multiply by the years. So I times those two then. So 0.04 times 3 is 0.12. Okay, then add 1 to that product. So I need to add 1, that's 1.12. And then multiply the amount by the amount from step 1. So I take these and multiply them. And that tells me how much I will have to repay altogether, but not my monthly payment. So I have to pay $14,000 back on the loan. Now I don't want to pay it all at once. I want to divide it into monthly payments. So I got to figure out how many months are in 3 years. So times 12. And 3 times 12 is 36. Okay, so I'm going to divide by 36 months. So 14,000 divided by 36 is $389. Okay, convert 5 square yards to square feet. Then we know there's 3 feet in 1 yard. But I'm dealing with square units, so I need to square my labels and my values. So that's 1, and that's 9. Okay, now this is feet, this is yards. The 5 is in yards, so I want to put the 5 down here. Okay, and then just cross multiply and divide. 9 times 5 is 45, divided by 1 is 45. 45 square feet. Okay, 16. Convert 100 US dollars to Canadian currency. There's $1.33 Canadian will equal 1 full dollar US. So I know 1.33 Canadian is equal to $1 of the US. Where would you want to place 100? Well, it's US money, so it needs to go on the across from the 1. So 100. And multiply and divide. 1.33 times 100 divided by 1 is 133. Okay, number 17. If you buy 20 of a product for $15 each and turn around and sell it for $18 each, what's your profit? So there's the buy, the sell, and then the money made or the money lost. Could be either one. Okay, so I buy. The buying price is $15. The selling price is $18, and I have 20 of a product. So I'm going to buy 20 and then sell 20, and that is $300, and this is $360. Okay, now it's good to sell for more. That means we made money, and then I just subtract 360 minus 300, and that's $60. Okay, number 18, same concept. Buy 15 of a product for $30 each, turn around and sell it for $20 each. What's your profit? So buy, sell, and then made or loss. Okay, so buy. Well, I buy it for 30. Sell. Well, I'm selling it for 20. Well, I already know I'm going to lose. Okay. How much? Times 15, and that's $450. Then multiply that by 15, and that's $300. Then you subtract 450 minus 300, and that's $150. Okay, number 21. An individual's net income is $45,000. The individual takes a pay freeze, but with the rate of inflation at 3%, what will this person's purchasing power be next year? Now remember, inflation means they print more money, but it causes your purchasing power to go down. The money becomes less valuable. So I subtract, and you're like, well, what do you subtract? Well, you find 3% of what you were making, so times 0.03. So 45,000 times 0.03, and that's 1,350. Okay, so 45,000 minus 1,350, and I get 43,650. Okay, I have a $200 invested in a 5-year certificate deposit. Calculate my interest. Now we will need a table for this. So here's my certificates of deposit rate, okay? It's like I'm giving the bank money, they use it for certain ventures, and then I come get it back, and there'll be more than the $200 they give back. I'm finding the interest I get along with my $200 back. So I'm not worried about this, okay? So I take my money I'm investing times the rate. 5-year rate is 5.92. Do not write 5.92 right there. Okay, either divide it by 100, do something, okay? You can't just use 5.92 because it's a percent. Okay, so 0.0592, and then multiply by the years, and it is in years. And I'm good. 200 times 0.0592 times 5. I got 59.2, so it's $59.20. Okay, 23. I have $1,000 invested in a 6 months, let's just say 6 months. I don't know where that year came from. I just mistyped it, I think. I have $1,000 invested in a 6-month certificate of deposit. After the period is over, I reinvest it for another 6 months. Find the interest. So we're still doing certificate of deposit, but this time it's $1,000 investment. And I invest it for 6 months now, and that's 5.44% per year. So you can't just write 5.44. That's a percent. You don't just take dollars times the percents. So 0.0544, and then times the time, 6. But since that's not a full year, I say, okay, what fraction of a year is it? Well, there's 12 months in a year, so that would be 12. We know that's 0.5. I can multiply. Okay, 27.2, so that's $27.20 interest earned on just that period. Now, I want to reinvest. So what I do is I add these two, because I'm not going to start with 1,000 now. I'm going to start with 1,000 plus 27.20. Okay, that's 1,000, 27.20. Okay, 6 months, 5.44%, so 0.0544. And then again, 6 over 12, which we know is 0.5. Okay, $27.94. Okay, now we need to add these two together because I earned this much interest during period number 1 and then this much additional interest in period number 2. So 27.20 plus 27.94. That's one that we are kind of confused on earlier in the year. But this is the way to do it because if you reinvest again, you'd add that on. Okay, and that's where you're at. If you got your money back, you get this plus this. Well, that's going to be this. Won't be that. Okay, I have $1,000 worth of savings bonds I've held for 8.5 years. Calculate my interest rate if I turn them in now. So the buying price, the buy and the number of bonds, you want to start with $1,000. Okay, we always buy them for half price, so just divide by 2, and that's going to be 500. Okay, now here's the bonds table right above the seat certificate table. It says the bonds are $50 a piece, so I need to divide this into 50s to figure out how many of them I will own. 20. Okay, now the rate of return, it depends how many years, so 8.5 years. So here's 8.5 years, so I would get $46.75. But that's on every bond I take back. Well, I have 20 of them to take back, so I times by 20. That's $935. So that's what I get in return, but some of that is them just giving me my money back from this step here. Well, how much was the money back? It's $500, so I minus $500, and that would be $435 of interest. Okay, if I roll a dice twice, how many possible results can occur? Well, dice has 6 sides. You can either take it to the second power or think of it like this. I have 6 on the first roll, and then on the second roll, there's going to be 6 again. Okay, at any rate, the answer is 36. I could have a 1 and a 5, a 6 and a 2. There's 36 different possibilities. Okay, now we're going to go with this one. I want to do this one here. I'm not going to do these other ones because they're all pretty much cookie cutter. Okay, I want you to find the probability of drawing a spade twice in a row from a deck of cards. And you're not going to put it back, so you're going to have a 52, but after the first one, you won't put it back. So how many spades are in a deck? Well, you got the ace, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, jack, king, queen. There'd be 13. And if you are fortunate enough to draw one, we'll say the 2, then the 2's out. And then I have just 12 remaining. Okay, so 13 times 12 is 156. And then 52 times 51 is 2,652. Okay, then I can divide and times 100. 5.8%, so it'd be roughly 6%. I'll go 5.9. Round it however you would feel the most comfortable. Okay, last page. In a 400-meter dash, there are 8 runners. How many different orders of finish can take place? So I have 8. And I'm going to take all of them. It doesn't say how many places, so I assume I'm taking them all. So that's 8 factorial. And that equals 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. $40,323. Okay, how many possible ways is it for the 8 runners to finish first, second, and third? So I have 8, and I'm going to take 3, and I see first, second, third with those 3, so I want to use the P, the permutation. So I have an 8, a 3, then there's 5 we don't want. Now, I do not want to put this 3 on the bottom because I need those 3 to be ranked. Putting on the bottom means they will not be ranked. I need them ranked. So it's just 8 and 5. So 8 times 7 times 6 times 5, and then the 5's cancel. And then I just find that little product there with 8 times 7 times 6. That's 336. Okay, if you have 25 people in a PE class, how many teams of 5 is it possible to create? So I have 25, and no, you don't just take 25 divided by 5, okay? You are going to take 5, but it does not say first, second, third, fourth, fifth. I do not need to do that, so I would want to use the C. So 25 and 5 with 20. Now, it's important, I'm not going to cross out this 5 because I do not want those 5 to be ranked. That means they go down here so I can make sure that in my answer I did not have to rank the 5 that I picked. So 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, and then the 20s will cancel. But I've still got the 5 factorial. It's not just 5, it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so 25 times 24 times 23 times 22 times 21. Then I want to close the parentheses, and then I'm going to divide by the product, so I parenthesize it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, 53,130. All right, that's all I have to say on that. Hopefully it made sense. If you have any questions, let me know.